Enterprise might have been the early on signs that the Star Trek franchise was wading into dangerous waters. The show was on the run from cancellation from inception, being the first to be cancelled since the original series met its doom nearly 4 decades prior.
I'm losing command.
Captain, I've lost command.
The show would be succeeded by numerous uneven movies and eventually Star Trek Discovery. Outside of Star Trek Nemesis that would be released in 2002, Enterprise would be the last remnants of your father Star Trek.
The final frontier begins in this hall. Let's explore it together.
Enterprise debuted on UPN in September 26 of 2001. The show was created by longtime Star Trek producers and writers Rick Berman and Brannon Braga. Berman was hand-selected by Gene Roddenberry to help create The Next Generation. Berman would also go on to help co-create Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager. Brannon Braga, who started off as an intern for The Next Generation, would go on to serve as a producer on Voyager before being elevated to co-creator role for Enterprise. These two would be the primary reason why Enterprise would retain the look and feel of Star Trek while also carrying the burden of the show's ultimate demise. Enterprise is a prequel series that follows Earth's first starship capable of traveling Warp 5, the Enterprise. Enterprise took place roughly 100 years before Kirk and his crew set off in the Enterprise A. This choice allowed the writers room to explore new parts of the fictional universe such as early relations with the Vulcans, as well as the first encounters with Klingons and Andorians. The Enterprise would be captained by Jonathan Archer, the son of the man who helped develop the engine in the Enterprise.
The Warp 5 engine wouldn't be a reality without men like Dr. Cochrane and Henry Archer, who worked so hard to develop it. So it's only fitting that Henry's son, Jonathan Archer, will command the first starship powered by that engine.
Archer, like the captains before him, would be the centerpiece for the show's development.
Should I go around it? We can't be afraid of the wind, Ensign. Take us to Warp 4.
Like Picard's deep-rooted charisma, intelligence, and thought-provoking ideology would echo through TNG.
I don't understand.
What is he? A machine? Is he? Are you sure? Yes! You see, he's met 2 of your 3 criteria for sentience, so what if he meets the 3rd? Consciousness, in even the smallest degree.
Or Sisko's theatrical, abrasive, and vibrancy became a part of DS9.
You betrayed your uniform!
And you're betraying yours, right now!
Archer's lust for exploration and discovery would be the hallmark for the new show.
Everything's under control, Lieutenant.
The airlock's decompressing, sir. He'll die.
Not for another 20 seconds, he won't.
Enterprise, at least in the first 2 seasons, took a more return to form for the franchise. Berman and Braga focused more on the central trio of characters, Captain Archer, Commander Trip Tucker, and Sub-Commander T'Pol. The hope was to continue relatable, character-driven narratives while still infusing the exploration people have came to know and love about the franchise. Unfortunately, due to low viewership, UPN asked for changes. Enterprise would then pursue more action-driven plotlines and a single, serialized storyline akin to Deep Space Nine. This would lead to a Save the Earth plotline involving a race of species known as the Xindi. Unfortunately, despite numerous changes, hirings and firings of new writers, showrunner changes, and even CBS purchasing UPN, Enterprise would be cancelled in its 4th season. Fans have been clamoring for a 5th season with over $32 million raised, as well as successful online websites and campaigns for a hopeful push. At this time, nothing is planned, and in my opinion, I don't see anything ever happening.
I'll blow this whole game apart if I have to!
Enterprise is it's a weird show.
I know you hear me!
Enterprise's easiest comparison, at least to me, is that one last final season of a soon-to-be retired sports legend. Greatness is still there, as is those latched-on memories, that nostalgic value we all carry. It just never quite gets to where it used to be. While hitting some beats, it misses others that makes it feel like it's, well, time is up. Enterprise was that reminder. Star Trek had hit its end. Between the numerous issues with the network, hiring and firing off writers, and struggling throughout its run to even, well, run, the show was in hot water from the start. At its core, Enterprise was still Star Trek.
But we're pretty much helpless when we're born. It takes us months before we're able to crawl. Almost a full year before we can walk. Our deep space mission isn't much different. We came out here to stop the Xindi from destroying humanity.
I'll be damned if I'm gonna have a hand in destroying another race.
The show still had heavy exploration themes, discovering not only of different solar systems, but of species and ideological differences that made viewers think.
I'll take that as a thank you.
It had excellent model design and special effects that, for the most part, still hold up today. Set design is excellent and still retains a look and feel that not only feels familiar to the universe, but cohesive to what the universe will become. Unlike someone. It also introduced Makos. While not entirely what Star Trek needed, are still a badass creation that I wish at the least received a spin-off. Enterprise also had a pretty decent crew. Scott Bakula, who would play Captain Archer, did a great job.
Because just beyond the next planet, just beyond the next star, there would be something magnificent, something noble.
We're going to learn from those mistakes. That's what being human is all about.
He made mistakes, he even acted out of anger, but he was always about exploration and following what humanity needed to be the best version of itself. Commander Tucker was that spry, comedic touch the show needed.
It remains to be seen whether humanity will revert to its baser instincts.
Well, we used to have cannibals on Earth. Who knows how far we'll revert?
Admiral Forrest sees no reason why we shouldn't keep going.
Son of a bitch.
Then T'Pol, who was the only Vulcan member of Enterprise, who would serve as some of the show's earlier conflicts, but would later become a vital member of the crew.
Do you believe me?
Yeah.
Enterprise made some significant faults. One, the show might have been a bit too 2000s for its own good. The franchise has long been heralded for its fantastic orchestrated opening theme songs.
These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise.
That went away in exchange for a pop-infused Where My Heart Will Take Me. It's without a doubt a bit off-putting, especially coming from something as cinematic as TNG or even Voyager. The show also added some rather sexy moments that were a bit not Star Trek.
So where are we going?
This seems pretty normal.
Computer. Run program Riker.
Dressed?
139.
That doesn't look like Riker. Wait a minute. Is this Star Trek Enterprise?
I see.
I got something
What a
wrong.
novel idea.
This doesn't look like Enterprise.
Wait. No kissing until you shave that beard
Seems
off.
normal. Maybe I was wrong.
Then it can wait.
Oh! Guys, I said no more porn videos. You can see that guy's dick bulge. They don't even have clothes on. She has no bra. This isn't Star Trek, guys. I said no more porn videos.
You must really be proud.
This is Star Trek? Oh, but they don't have clothes on. The porn they had clothes on. What? He's rubbing her ass crack. Guys, this is not Star Trek. What's going on? Like, this just feels weird. Then the one last stab. The one last, what in the hell is this moment Enterprise had to do. Everyone that has seen the show knows where this is going. That freaking finale. Star Trek up to this point has had incredible endings. All Good Things from TNG is a remarkable, fascinating, and brilliant ending to an outstanding show.
I should have done this a long time ago.
Voyager's ending hit all the right notes. You get the point. Enterprise?
So I guess we're through here.
I guess we are.
Well, it was just downright insulting. These Are the Voyages is the series finale title for Enterprise. In it, the Enterprise crew is a story frame for a 24th century holodeck recreation for the Next Generation's episode, The Pegasus. Jonathan Frakes, who played Commander Riker on TNG, and Marina Sirtis, who played Counselor Troy, return to play themselves. In the episode, Commander Riker deals with making a difficult admission about a cover-up.
What they're doing is wrong. It could jeopardize the treaty.
He uses the Enterprise crew via holodeck recreation to help guide him through these struggles.
You got any advice? No.
Well, the first issue, Jonathan Frakes and Marina Sirtis would be playing themselves from an episode that was aired in 1994. This was 2005, so that's a bit weird. Secondly, it made the show about the TNG crew.
Here's to the next generation.
insulting not only those fans who have grown to love Enterprise, but the cast and crew who'd worked so hard to keep this show on the network. The entire cast, like the fan base, hated the finale. Jolene Blaylock, who played Commander T'Pol, called the ending appalling. Anthony Montgomery, who played Ensign Mayweather, said, "I feel there could have been a far more effective way to wrap things up for our show as well as the franchise as a whole. It just seemed to take a little bit away from what Enterprise crew and cast worked so diligently to achieve over the past 4 years. In all honesty, that negativity can be felt from the cast in their final performances."
He trusts him.
That's okay.
Third, beloved character Commander Trip would be killed off in what can only be described as rushed and pointless.
There's just one other thing I need to tell you. You can all go straight to hell.
Those that grew to love the character deserve better.
I'll even have time to write my speech.
Great news. Wait till they...
So, Enterprise ends horrifically bad. Actually, Screen Rant calls These Are the Voyages the #1 worst episode in all of Star Trek. So, the show has an out-of-place, stupid pop song that doesn't fit. It infuses sexuality in a way that makes it feel like it's an almost softcore porn. Why in the hell am I recommending this? Because, at its heart, Enterprise is still Star Trek.
To look beyond your provincial attitudes and your volatile nature.
Volatile? You have no idea how much I'm restraining myself from knocking you on your ass.
Deep Space Nine, Voyager, The Next Generation, the original series, these fantastic shows were never perfect. Each had their own issues, as does Enterprise. However, hindsight is always 20/20, and as time has went on with the addition of the Kelvin universe as well as Star Trek Discovery, the franchise has morphed into something it almost isn't. For all Enterprise's faults, it still remains an optimistic exploration show with character-driven narratives, strong visuals, and at times, fantastic storytelling. Unfortunately, Enterprise came out in an era where every show that comes out needs to hit the ground running or else it's cancelled. Like all the Star Treks before it, Enterprise needed time to find its footing and gel with its central audience. By the time it did, it was already running away from cancellation. Enterprise is worth it for the modern special effects, great characters, quality storylines, and a true traditional take on your father's Star Trek.
400 billion stars in our galaxy. We've only explored a tiny fraction. You have a lot of work to do.
I fully recommend it. Thanks so much for watching. Thank you everyone that helped me go over 2,000 subscribers. I have immensely enjoyed this journey with you all and hope we can share more great TV shows and movies together. As usual, be sure to comment what you want to see in the future. Subscribe if you enjoy the video and notification bell on to keep up to date with my latest content. See you tots!